Now, the card on the bottom of the deck is the Eight of Wands, which is Hearthfire. This has to do with our passions. This can do with communication coming in, with travel. This can do with really just kind of having a resurgence of energy coming on in, a resurgence of energy. So if you've been feeling kind of stuck or maybe stymied, this is really kind of getting that power boost, that Kundalini blast that you sort of need to get yourself in motion. And we're coming into your season shortly thereafter, this current Virgo season that we're in. So it'll be your birthday before too darn long. And I know there tends to be that at the end of our personal cycle, we tend to be reflecting on the things that did not work in our past year and really prepping for a bang zoom new beginning, a new burst of energy when we get into our birthday season and we're starting a brand new wheel of the year. So very exciting times to be a Libra right now. And then, of course, the fall, you tend to love the fall. I mean, but anyway, I do too. It's one of my favorite. It probably is my favorite season. But what's covering you, this general energy is the Moon card. And the Moon can have to do with deception and confusion and things being hidden from you. You know, it also has to do with this sense of primordial potential, you know, and the ability to become whatever it is that you want, to sort of give birth to something new. So it definitely has to do with seasons and cycles, right, coming in, and illumination of a sort. But the Moon reflects things, so there's kind of that obscure hiddenness that can come with it, whereas the Sun gives forth its own light. The Moon simply reflects others' light or the Sun's light. But this can indicate a lack of clarity, not really knowing exactly what to do. But in your case, and just kind of precursory glance at some of these other cards, I feel like you're coming out of this energy and that you really are getting a sense of what it is that you need to do and want to do. And I think that's why we're seeing this burst of energy coming forward from you. So now crossing you is this Six of Arrows, which is very much about transition. Very much transition. And we've got the Moon in here too, at a different phase, and the Sun that's setting to give way to the Moon. But this is about illumination, navigation, moving on to new shores and not really knowing what's going on the other side, but just knowing that whatever it is that you're leaving behind, it's right and proper for you to do that. It's sort of like you've played that through. You know, you've done your thing and you're ready to kind of move on with that. You can see by the sail here that you're also getting a tailwind that's helping to move you, really to zip you through. So definitely the universe has been helping you here. You've not been left alone in that. But there have been a lot who are conspiring to help you in this transition and to have that burst of energy needed to make it happen. So you do have a lot of really, really positive influence that's helping you along your way. So don't give up on your dreams, which are symbolic here in the stars. You know, don't give up on your dreams of a better tomorrow, because again, that looks like that's coming for you clearly. Now, what's on your mind is a sense of clearance, which that just goes hand in hand with the transition phase. You're leaving something behind, right? Something that was not helping you, something that may have been toxic. You know, you're trying to start something new, and it's enabling you to move on to this other piece. But you're really trying to streamline. I'm getting that. Like I'm not seeing a lot of baggage in this boat right here. You're trying to clear out the things that don't benefit you and lighten your load, lighten your burden. Wands is about fire energy. So yes, there's a sense of kind of slash and burn through this forest here, but it's a controlled burn. You know, one thing about Libra, you know, they tend to be. They allow their logic, typically, to determine what they're going to do, even when it comes to their emotional life. And they like to strive for that balance between those two energies. So this hearth fire, this clearance, this is not about raging things or things that are raging out of control. This is really about, you know who you are, you know what time it is, you're going to make it happen, you know, and kind of getting that moving on, right? You're doing what you need to do. We see this behind you that, you know, you've had this foundation, this new foundation. So I feel like you're moving towards something that you've set into motion, right? Now, well, that's irrelevant. Okay, but I feel like you've already set this forward because this is behind you. But the way it's read from right to left. in this layout. So I feel like it's actually, you set this foundation piece and you're transitioning away from something else that might diminish that. And that part of this clearance, in other words, if you may have started a new business and now you feel like you can leave your McJob. And, not to be disparaging about McDonald's or something, but, we all have that McJob where we punch a time clock and our heart and soul may not be into the work. Then again, maybe it is, whatever it is that we're doing. But I feel like you're taking this into some new path or new direction. You've been hanging on to your, foundation B, as you were getting your primary or your A foundation underway. Does that make sense? Like if you're starting your own business, your own company, or moving on to a new job, like basically you found your new job that was better pay, better environment, better for you before you're clearing away the thing from your past tense or that's moving into your past tense. Like you line up the new job before you get rid of the old job, right? That kind of thing. Then again, it could be you're laying that foundation because it has to do with business, or it may have to do with home even, your home and family. Maybe like you're moving in your house. Like some of you, I think, are in fact moving like in your house. You've moved your household and you're getting rid of things that don't benefit you anymore. And you're excited about this move and taking it in a new direction, right? Beneath you's the Queen of Stones, and Stones is the suit of Earth. So it can be a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn person. Doesn't have to be a woman, but most likely an adult or somebody that you relate to as an adult peer, if you're an adult. Or, it could be a parent figure, a teacher, a coach, a guide if you're younger than that. But Bear has to do with cycles, just like we saw with the moon. There's cycles for certain things. Now, Bear tends to be 2-year cycles because, you think about it, they give birth to their young when they're in the cave over the winter time, like in the very early spring. So they're giving birth and then they bring forth their cubs in the springtime when they're a little bit older. But then the babies don't leave their mother for the first 2 years as they learn how to hunt and gather, forage, and so forth. And bears are very intelligent and complex social animals. But we see this cycle. This may have been a year or two in the making, this cycle for you. So the moon would indicate more like a monthly cycle, but it could be, the year cycle. I'm thinking that this may have been some kind of a 2-year cycle for you as you're trying to set your foundation together, perhaps for whatever your job, your vocation, your house. Maybe you saved up for 2 years for a house and you finally were able to close escrow and do all of that. And definitely this move is beautiful for you. It's a fresh start in something. Maybe you've moved out of state and it took you a while to be able to save up to get there. Whatever that is, take it as it resonates. This reading won't resonate for everyone, of course, because there's just too many people out there. Now, the future brings the Sun card. So there's so much positivity and happiness and joy that's coming from your having been able to clear a lot of this, be able to move on to this brand new fresh start. You're seeing a lot of excitement and happiness as a result of that. The Sun is the planetary ruler of Leo. So for some of you, it may be that you've left some kind of house or home or family life or bad relationship. I don't want to say bad relationship, but maybe you've learned a karmic lesson in a relationship and you're leaving it. And this Sun has to do with a brand new fresh start. I feel like for most of you, it's probably less specifically a Leo, but more to do with just experiencing the abundance and the joy and the plenty that is right now as we're in the early part of Virgo season here at the 1st of September. And just all that entails. You've done the cave, you've done the hibernation, now you're coming out to enjoy the sunshine once again. And that's really so important that you maintain that balance because there is a lot of moon and mystery and so on. But you've come out of this moon energy here, which is lunar and feminine and receptive and yin and very mysterious and so on. It's like being a receiver. When you think about a radio, that's the reception part. This is more about the transmission. It's about the masculine, the yang. It's really, your life has gone from one side to the other side of the yin yang symbol, and just very beautifully. Again, that sense of balance is something that you Libras tend to manage. I'm actually thinking of a ship or a boat, and how people have their sea legs. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what the boat is doing, they always maintain their balance on the ship. And that's kind of how I feel about you Libras right now, that whatever transition, and for some of you, this may be a very big transition, like leaving the relationship, moving to a new house, starting your own business and really setting off in that. And there's just so much positive energy in this reading for you. And I have to say, when I was shuffling the cards, they were leaping out all over the place. It was like this hearth fire energy for you guys really was bursting. Like, you guys cannot be held back right now. I really feel like you're in your power. You know what you want intellectually and emotionally. You're just like, yeah, let's get this party started. I want to move on. I want a fresh day. Again, golly, we got the card representing you is the Wheel of Fortune. And there's so much balance in this card. I mean, we've got the sun here, we've got the moon there, right? This has to do with, sometimes we don't know what it is that we have been going through. We don't know what our life is really all about until we've had enough time. You see the three weavers down here, and they're weaving this cloak, this fabulous cloak of life. But it's not till we turn around and look at it that we can actually see the pattern that our life has been taking. And I think for so many of you, you've had this time of introspection to kind of go in and see, what am I doing? What does this mean? What is this for me? And you're finally aware, oh, this is what it's all been about. I get it. Now I know what to do. And now that I see what my steps are going to be, I've got this burst of energy with me to make it happen, to manifest it. And I'm moving on, right? I'm moving on and into my new start, into my new day. This is so exciting. And now with this card too, I should point out, this has to do with divine help. As mentioned before, with this card of transition and the tailwind, you have a great deal of divine assistance helping you to manifest all of this. This is not just some random coincidence. This is about divine help saying, we want this to happen for you, right? Look at this. You've even got the bear on this cloak here, right? Another double whammy. I mean, these cards were hopping for you. Like, I'm not kidding. Your environment card is about generosity. Your cup runneth over, right? Now, even as this Eight of Wands, hearth fire, with all the power and the Kundalini energy coming in, we see here the second chakra. We see the womb chakra, or the what's it called? Sacral chakra. That's the reproductive organs, and the second chakra that has to do with reproduction, generativity. Creation, really creative life force with our turbo boost of our Kundalini underneath it. It's like your first two chakras are lit up and on fire. And this has to do with you being able to manifest. It's about giving back. It's about receiving and giving, generosity and abundance, the in and the out, the ebb and the flow, the yin and the yang. And this we're seeing all over this amazing reading right now. So this is such powerful stuff. And the Nine of Cups in many decks, it's a wish card. This is about getting what you wish. Finally, you've done whatever it is that needed to happen, and this karmic wheel has moved forward for you and is opening this door to this new chapter, and it's so exciting. It really is exciting. Now, this card represents your hopes and fears. The Ace of Wands, the spark of life. Again, this ties back with this burst of Kundalini energy here with the wands. This is your fire in here, right? And Ace is about new beginning. It has to do with just being lit up from within and into being able to make that new beginning happen. But now, when I first started to lay it down, and I don't generally read reversals in this deck, but I did notice that as I was laying it down, that this came upside down. And I think that might have been that maybe some of you are afraid that you won't have the energy to get done what needs doing in this new beginning. But don't worry about that. You have so much help here, and you really do have this power pack in your 8 here. And 8 is, that's that infinity symbol. So we know you have the determination and the will to make it happen. Recognize too, in your life, you will have the ebb and flow. I mean, that's indicative of the moon. You'll have the ebb and flow. Sometimes your energy will feel lower than others, and sometimes it'll feel up and way upbeat and up there. Just know that's all part of the rhythm. It's the ebb and flow of the ocean. It's the yin and the yang. That will happen. This too shall pass. So when you find yourself kind of in a slug, when you feel like you're not having the energy to get things done, maybe that's time for you to kind of go into the cave a little bit and give yourself that rest and relaxation that's absolutely necessary. And then you can emerge and begin your new project and starting to put more energy into your projects. Don't fear it. Roll with it. It's kind of like we have to sleep. If we don't sleep, we would literally go crazy. I mean, literally go crazy. I know that crazy is not a clinical term, but bear with me. We would become actually psychotic if we did not get sleep. And I want to say that's all part of the fun. But, it's just one of those things. We accept sleep. That's the law of physics. Well, so is that sometimes our energy is going to be a little bit lower, and that may be scary. At times too. This 8 of arrows here has to do with struggle. Arrows is the air sign, so that has to do with mental energy and so on. This is the final outcome card. But 8 of arrows has to do with mental energy as well. Because the sun is also in a future position, I do think that this may be more of a mental thing for you, like maybe an intellectual challenge, like even as you're fearing that you may not have the energy to be able to do whatever it is that you're thinking about doing and that you've been trying to manifest here, don't psych yourself out, because in some way, I really do think that may be more mental than anything. But, again, ebb and flow. This brings you to another 8, right? I haven't really talked a whole lot about numbers because, numerology is not really my thing, but we also have this 8 of wands to offset the 8 of arrows. 8 of arrows is anxiety, paranoia, things like that, intellectual upsets. Remember, sometimes for people, when they get these high bursts of energy, it can make them feel anxious. They don't feel very comfortable in that. They like a more mellow type of energy or influence. If you do feel yourself becoming too high strung, maybe you do need to talk to somebody like a mental health professional about your anxiety. And ways to cope with that. Journaling, exercising, anything to really kind of drain that energy from you would be helpful. But be careful not to spend too much time worrying, because worrying is about the future. We can't control the future. The best thing that we can do right now is do our best in this moment right now and give ourselves permission just to be in that moment right now. So with that in mind, it looks like it's going to be a good thing. It looks like it's going to be a really, really good thing. Just be sure that you're finding that work-life balance, and your anxiety shouldn't get too out of control. But remember, anxiety can be a medical issue as well. So that's why I say, for some of you, if you do have an anxiety disorder or history of anxiety disorder, you may want to seek additional help with a therapist or your doctor or somebody like that as you go. 9 of water. Ooh. Your wish comes true, concerns fade away, and a love of life. Yes, and we saw that too with the sun, didn't we? Right? Very compatible. So give me a moment to find it in the book here. I am going to read it. Okay. I'm also going to hold up this card too, because this is your future. This is what's going to come. Okay, so 9 of water, your wish comes true, concerns fade away, and a love of life. Your wish comes true. That which you've prayed for finally manifests. Your concerns should now fade as your efforts are rewarded. Financial hopes are currently realized. Good fortune follows you. The simple pleasures in life abound. Luxury and material comforts come to you. You're surrounded by beauty, happiness, and contentment. Additional meanings of this card: love of life, pleasure, freedom, things working out the way you'd hoped, and self-satisfaction. Yes, very, very positive. Every card in here was positive. Again, just remember, don't psych yourself out, because it's probably self-imposed. This really looks like whatever it is that you've been hoping for. Take that leap of faith right now. Go ahead, make your move. Whatever that was that you've been thinking about and dreaming about, because clearly you're going to have happy outcome in that. And that's just verified and validated here by our angel friends. Thank you so much for helping, angels.